the space station Virex 9 was never truly quiet. Ships arrived and departed every hour. Cargo haulers drifted through docking bays. Merchants shouted across markets filled with species from every corner of the galaxy. But for Ethan Carter, the noise had become background music. He leaned against the service counter of Docking Bay Maintenance Hub 3, sipping a cup of overly bitter synth coffee while reviewing repair requests on his tablet. Ethan wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a diplomat. He was just a human mechanic. And humans, as far as the galaxy was concerned, were still newcomers. Barely 30 years had passed since humanity had joined the interstellar community. Most alien races saw them as curious but unimportant. Their technology was decent. Their ships were sturdy, but their political power? Almost non-existent. Ethan was perfectly fine with that. Less politics meant fewer problems. He was finishing a repair log when the station AI chimed softly. Docking request approved. Incoming vessel. Ethan glanced up at the viewport. A sleek silver ship glided into the docking bay. It wasn't large, but it looked expensive. The kind of ship owned by someone rich, powerful, or both. Ethan shrugged and went back to his coffee. He'd seen thousands of ships. This one probably wasn't special. At least, that's what he thought. 2. The unexpected visitor. 10 minutes later, the bay doors slid open. Someone stepped inside. Ethan looked up casually and blinked. The woman standing in the doorway was clearly alien. Her skin shimmered with a faint blue glow. Long silver hair flowed down her back, and her eyes shone like violet glass. She wore simple clothing, but something about her posture radiated quiet confidence. Not arrogance, just certainty. Ethan glanced around. Can I help you? She walked closer, examining the tools and machines scattered around the maintenance area. You are the human mechanic? Ethan raised an eyebrow. Last time I checked. She studied him carefully. You repair starships? That's the job. She nodded thoughtfully. I need assistance. Ethan gestured toward the workbench. What kind of assistance? My ship requires maintenance. Ethan shrugged. Sure. That's what we do. He grabbed a data pad. Dock number? 17. Ethan whistled quietly. That fancy silver cruiser? Yes. Nice ride. She tilted her head. You like it? Yeah. Looks expensive. She smiled faintly. It is. Ethan smirked. Figures. 3. The conversation. They walked toward Dock 17 together. The alien woman moved gracefully, her eyes observing everything around her. Ethan eventually asked, So, what's wrong with the ship? Nothing serious. Then why come to a mechanic? She glanced at him. Preventive care. Ethan chuckled. Most pilots wait until something explodes. I prefer caution. When they reached the ship, Ethan crouched beside the engine panel and opened the maintenance hatch. The engine inside was stunning. Advanced. Far beyond most ships on the station. Ethan whistled again. Yeah, this thing's worth more than the entire dock. She leaned against the wall nearby, watching him work. After a few minutes, Ethan spoke casually. So, where are you from? She didn't answer immediately. Finally, she said, Very far away. Helpful. She smiled slightly. You're curious. Occupational hazard. He tightened a bolt. People with ships like this usually have interesting stories. Her eyes gleamed. Oh, I do. 4. Trouble arrives. Ethan had just finished the diagnostic scan when shouting echoed through the docking bay. 3 large alien figures entered. They were massive reptilian beings wearing armored suits. Dravik mercenaries. And they looked angry. The leader slammed a clawed hand against a cargo crate. Where is she? Dock workers backed away nervously. The Dravok were notorious for violence. Ethan stood up slowly. The silver-haired woman remained calm beside the ship. The mercenary spotted her. There you are. He approached with a cruel grin. You thought you could hide here? Ethan frowned. Hey, this is a repair dock. The mercenary ignored him. You owe our employer something. The woman crossed her arms. I owe him nothing. The mercenary's grin widened. You'll come with us anyway. Ethan stepped forward. Whoa, hold on. All three mercenaries turned toward him. One of them laughed. The human speaks. Ethan pointed toward the exit. You're not kidnapping someone in my repair bay. The mercenary leader leaned closer. You think you can stop us? Ethan shrugged. Not really. Then he added calmly. But station security probably can. The mercenary snarled. You will regret interfering. Ethan folded his arms. Get in line. 5. The warning. The tension in the dock grew thick. The mercenaries reached for their weapons. Ethan felt his heart pounding. This was definitely above his pay grade. The silver-haired woman suddenly spoke. You should leave. The mercenary laughed. Or what? She looked at him calmly. Then she said the words that would change everything. Human, you don't know who you're talking to. Ethan glanced at her. Yeah, that's true. The mercenary leader sneered. And neither do you. He raised his weapon. Last chance. Ethan sighed. Look, man. Before he could finish, the woman stepped forward. Her voice dropped slightly. You have made a mistake. The mercenary laughed again. What mistake? And that's when the entire docking bay changed. 6. The arrival of the guards. Suddenly, a dozen sleek black ships appeared outside the station viewport. Dock alarms blared. Station security messages echoed across the bay. Unidentified military vessels detected. The mercenaries froze. Ethan stared at the ships. They were enormous, advanced, and unmistakably military. The docking bay doors opened again. This time, hundreds of armored soldiers marched inside. Their armor gleamed with silver symbols. Every worker on the station recognized them instantly. The Imperial Guard, the personal military of one of the most powerful empires in the galaxy. The mercenaries went pale. The guards stopped in formation. Then they all did something shocking. They knelt. Not to Ethan. To the woman beside him. 7. The truth revealed. The mercenary leader stammered. Why you're... The woman turned slowly toward him. Her voice was calm. Yes. Ethan looked between them. What's happening? One of the Imperial Guards spoke loudly. All hail Princess Elira of the Solaran Empire. The entire dock fell silent. Ethan blinked. Once. Twice. Then he slowly turned to the woman beside him. Princess. She smiled faintly. Yes. You're like a royal princess? Correct. Ethan rubbed his face. And you came to my repair dock alone? Yes. He stared at her. Why? She shrugged. Because I wanted my ship repaired. 8. The mercenaries' fate. The Imperial Guards quickly surrounded the Dravok mercenaries. Their weapons were confiscated. They were dragged away. The leader begged desperately. Your Highness, we didn't know. Princess Elira looked at him calmly. That was your first mistake. He swallowed. What was the second? She gestured toward Ethan. Threatening someone under my protection. The guards removed the mercenaries from the station. Ethan watched them go. Then he turned slowly back to her. Okay, so, question. Yes. Why didn't you tell me you were a princess? She smiled. You never ask. 9. The human who didn't care. The Imperial Guards waited respectfully at a distance. Ethan leaned against the workbench. All right, this is weird. Princess Elira laughed softly. Why? Because you're apparently one of the most important people in the galaxy. That is technically accurate. And yet, he gestured toward the engine. You came to a random human mechanic. She nodded. Yes. Why? She looked thoughtful. Because humans are different. How? Most beings treat royalty with fear. Ethan shrugged. Didn't know you were royalty. Exactly. She stepped closer. You spoke to me normally. Ethan smirked. Well, that explains why you didn't vaporize me. She laughed again, and the Imperial guards looked stunned. Apparently, their princess didn't laugh often. 10. A new friendship. Over the next hour, Ethan finished repairing her ship. They talked more. About Earth. About alien cultures. About the strange way humans treated everyone the same. Finally, the repairs were complete. Princess Elira prepared to leave. Before boarding her ship, she turned to Ethan. You defended me earlier. Ethan shrugged. Didn't know you were a princess. That makes it more impressive. She paused. Most people only protect power. You protected a stranger. Ethan scratched his head. Well, it seemed like the right thing to do. She smiled warmly. Humans say that often. 11. The invitation. Before entering her ship, the princess handed Ethan a small device. What's this? A communication beacon. He raised an eyebrow. You're giving me the princess hotline? She laughed. Something like that. And why exactly? She looked at him seriously. Because the Solaran Empire values loyalty. Ethan shrugged. I just fixed her engine. And defended me. She paused. And I believe our worlds may benefit from knowing each other better. Ethan smirked. So you're saying humanity just gained a royal friend? She smiled. Yes. 12. The Legend of Dock 17. Months later, stories spread across the station. About the day a human mechanic stood up to mercenaries without realizing he was protecting a princess. About how that simple act changed diplomatic relations between two civilizations. And about the moment the princess said, Human, you don't know who you're talking to. Because she had been right. He didn't know. But he treated her with respect anyway. And in the end, that mattered far more than knowing her title.